During her trip to Taiwan, U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said her visit does not contradict long-standing U.S. policy, guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, U.S.-China joint communiques, and the Six Assurances. In fact, she is wrong. Her visit contradicts the joint communique in 1979 establishing ties between the U.S. and China. The joint communique of the United States of America and the People's Republic of China clearly states the United States of America recognizes the government of the People's Republic of China as the sole legal government of China.
Within this context, the people of the United States will maintain cultural, commercial, and other unofficial relations with the people of Taiwan. The government of the United States of America acknowledges the Chinese position that there is but one China, and Taiwan is part of China.
Pelosi, second in line of succession for the U.S. presidency, is clearly an official of the U.S. government, which thereby defies the agreement. But this doesn't seem to bother Pelosi, as just 3 months later, in April 1979, the U.S. Congress approved the controversial bill called the Taiwan Relations Act, and changed the wording from unofficial relations to other relations. It also stated the U.S. will continue to provide support to Taiwan, including supplying weapons to reinforce Taiwan's military capability. China registered strong opposition to the act as it legitimized arms sales to Taiwan, an obvious violation of China's national sovereignty and amounts to interference into China's domestic affairs. On August 17, 1982, China and the U.S. issued the third joint communique on U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, where Washington agreed to gradually reduce arms sales to Taiwan and then stop altogether. However, this upset Taiwan secessionists, so the U.S. created the Six Assurances, a document outlining U.S. policy principles to assure Taiwan of its support to the region despite cutting formal diplomatic relations. It also assured Taiwan that the U.S. did not agree to set a date for ending arms sales to Taiwan. The U.S. had played both sides, to the mainland by pledging to reduce arms sales, and also to Taiwan by reassuring the region there was no set date for ending arms sales.
The so-called China Relations Act, cited by the U.S. side, gravely violates the One China principle and the three China-U.S. joint communiques and essentially places domestic law above international obligations. It is illegal, now, and void. On the Taiwan question, the U.S. should abide by the One China principle and the three China-U.S. joint communiques rather than something it unilaterally concocted.
For decades, the Chinese side has consistently opposed the U.S. practice of creating domestic laws to defend their relations with Taiwan.
What do you make of this kind of flip-flopping in dealing with another country?
What I make of this type of flip-flopping, specifically that you're mentioning, is just really an earlier example of what we have now that's escalating, which is obvious. We have a specific, intentional, I even want to go so far as to say disrespectful, breach of the One China policy. When Pelosi spoke on soil, standing in Taiwan, in the morning of her remarks, she referred to our countries, and she was talking about the United States and Taiwan. So we just have a direct breach, and what I think I want to do now is talk more about the question that's really on everybody's mind, which is to say, why is the United States acting so incredibly recklessly? And in order to answer that question, all we have to do is look at what's happening around the rest of the world. Now, this all began, 70 years ago, post-World War II. It's disturbing to me because, I'm an American. People like myself, other politicians in America, like Tulsi Gabbard, economists like respected Jeffrey Sachs. We're all scratching our heads as Americans. We're disturbed by what our government is doing because it's on a warmongering warpath.